What is a confined space?
Ugh, Peggy, I just finished another corporate webinar and I found out I need to inventory all of our confined spaces. Do you even know what a confined space is?
I think I can help, Paul. Many workplaces have areas that are confined spaces according to OSHA. There are only 3 characteristics that all confined spaces must have. One of the first things to check for is if an employee can fit their entire body into the area. If they can enter completely and perform the work required, then it may be a confined space. A space that is too small for his entire body to get into is not a confined space. The second thing to check for is if the area has restricted entry or exit. Here are some simple questions to consider. Are both hands needed to enter or exit? Must you crawl or contort your body to get in or out? Are there physical obstructions like pipes or holes in the floor? Are ladders required to access the space? If any of these are yes, then it may be a confined space. The last thing to check for is if the space is not designed for continuous occupancy. For example, when that area is operating normally, an employee cannot work in there for their entire shift because of safety hazards. So if an area has all 3 of these characteristics, it is a confined space according to OSHA.
Got it. Let's walk around the warehouse and find some of those confined spaces.
Let's look at the pump room. You can easily bodily enter and perform work inside the space. There is no restriction entering or exiting it, and you could be in here during normal operation. So it only meets one of the criteria, so it's not a confined space. What about a dock leveler? Once it's open, you can easily bodily enter and perform work. Entry and exit is restricted. You can't just walk in or out. And it certainly is not designed for somebody to be under there during normal operation. 3 check marks means it's a confined space.
Gee, Peggy, you're right. The dock leveler has all 3 characteristics, so I'm going to include it on my confined space list.
Let's check out the cardboard baler. From the top, the chute is certainly large enough to bodily enter and perform work. And there is restricted access for entry and exit. And you certainly cannot be in there during normal operation. That would be very hazardous. 3 check marks means it's a confined space.
Mission accomplished. I walked around the entire warehouse and inventoried all the confined spaces. But I'll need a break before trying to figure out which of these confined spaces is permit required.